So let's do, oh wait, I forgot the white. So I've got 4 tints, the white, the light, medium, and dark blue. Okay. So I'm okay to get that paint over the orange, it's fine.
Isn't that background dry already?
Oh yeah, this is all dry. I definitely want that to be dry. This is the light blue.
Do you ever worry about the mixing of the yellow and making green when you're doing sky?
Well, I'm not worried about it. I'm actually trying to do that.
You want it?
Yeah, I want that. I want that transitional color that I'm getting as I mix the two. That's why I'm painting into it while it's still wet, so I get that happening. It's a really common technique, like I told you, that the old masters used a lot, was painting into wet glazes to get their blended colors. I lost a part of the mountain there, I think. Oopsies, I didn't want that there. Okay, so that's my sky idea. So now we need a red glaze.
Will that need to stay wet or?
Yes, that's how I got the purples.
Is that more of a magenta?
This is quinacridone red, so it's a very, it's a cool dark red. Yeah, I quite like it.
Is that the darkest blue tint now?
I'm actually mixing it with the medium blue because I found the dark one is a little too dark.
do you spend any time studying mountain shapes?
Oh yeah. Just mountain shapes and tree shapes and rock shapes and how water behaves and what snow looks like. Yeah, it's like anything, right? If you're going to spend a lot of time painting a subject, you're going to want to, like if you're painting people all the time, you'd really want to be really understand anatomy and most definitely. So there's a number of ways that you could go about this. I'll show you what I mean in a minute here as I get further along. But depending on how you do it, it's going to have a bit of a different character. The mountains, I mean. So I'll show you what I mean. So I kind of plugged it in that way, and then what I did is where I had my these highlights here. So once I had put the blue on, so rather than paint them on, I scraped them away instead because I wanted that nice orange to show through that warm veil that I'm going to put on there, and it's just like I said, it's just a different way of approaching it. But it has a very specific character and look when you do it this way, rather than just piling opaques on top of the blue purple underneath. And this will have much more luminosity and brightness, which is why I prefer to do it this way. Now, I could also just draw these in and paint around them, but I like to, instead I like to put the opaque on and scrape it off because I get more interesting looking shapes and I get more blended edges and sort of funky painterly things happening, if you know what I mean. So I also will do some of that with the snow as well. So this is the snow now. You're just gonna have to remember which is snow and which is so yeah, I mean you could paint that stuff in there while it's still in your memory, but then the blue stuff would dry, so good luck with whatever you decide to do. All right, let's try that.
Can I just ask a question, why you left out on the left-hand side, that mountain, the shadow smoke?
That?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just because it's a really big area, and
Oh, so you'll just paint it,
I just painted in.
okay.
And because the glaze, the red glaze underneath is still kind of wet, it's going to give me a purpley underpainting for that shadow, which is what I want. Because I'm going to glaze it again.
Is that the lightest blue?
It's the lightest blue, yeah. I'm running out of paint. It's okay because I've got lots of that. I really, I really can't see very good in this light. Most of the surface is just kind of glared. But I'm gonna trust you guys to tell me if I go way off on track. Okay.
It's fantastic.
It does say. All right, I believe you. It's fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like magic. It's fun that we get to do this because in the old master apprentice system, there was no such thing as hobby artists. There was no opportunity for just regular people to pick up a paintbrush and it's like, yeah, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like in those days, artists were so highly revered in society. They were like right below princes and aristocrats. They were a big deal. And so to get into a master apprentice studio was like winning the lottery. And like by the time you're 10 years old, it's already too late, right? They would choose you between 8 and 12 years old to join the studio. So that by the time you were 20, after about 8 or 10 years of training, you were a full-time, successful master artist. It does look pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Right on.
One of the sculptor friends is from Romania. It's the same kind of deal now in Romania.
Do you really?
By the time you were 10 or 11, if you were going to be a sculptor, you were in school.
Huh.
Right.
Sculpting, and that was your destiny.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. And it was like having 1,000 applicants, 30 get chosen.
Right. Wow. Yeah, and like back in those days, like in Italy in particular, like when you would have kids. I mean, it was a tough life, right? If you weren't, because there was only 2 classes of people in those. Right? You had your there was no middle class, so everybody was either poor or rich, or and so when you're busy having kids,